Welcome, welcome. I'm Cantor Lizzie Shammash. Welcome to the IJS Online Yoga Studio. I'm here in Philadelphia, and it's so wonderful to see all of your beautiful faces joining us from all over. It's so terrific. Just a couple of announcements on behalf of the Institute. Please check out the conversation between Nancy Flam and Michael Fishbane. It's on Wednesday, May 12th at 8 p.m. You can register for that. It's free, but you need to register. So check that out. The link is in the chat. Thank you, Adi. Also, we are live on YouTube, so welcome to those who are on YouTube, and of course, welcome to those in the Zoom room. And if you enjoy this practice, you can practice it again during the week. It lives there on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to the IJS channel. Please like our videos. Please share them widely. It's so helpful to us. And lastly, check out our podcast, Open Your Heart. And specifically, my episode dropped last week. It's called Unifying the Heart. And I'd love for you to hear that and share it and enjoy it. So we're going to begin seated in the chair. Today, I invite you, as always, to please do anything and everything that you need to make this practice your own. It should be comfortable. It should be within the positive boundaries that you need to be safe and well during our practice. So since I can't see you, I count on you to take care of yourselves, and I trust you for that. If at any time something that I'm doing as your tour guide doesn't feel right in your body, please feel free to stop doing that or to try something else, to investigate something else. We want to foster a sense of independence in our practice, that although I'm sharing teaching with you and alignment and safety and concepts, that you're the steward, of course, of this breath and this body, and that it's your inner wisdom that really guides you and knows best. So welcome, welcome. Today is the 21st of the month of Iyar and the 36th day of the Omer. We begin the 6th week of our counting, and the 6th week is Yesod, which is foundation, roots, connection. We'll take a deeper dive into that, into Yesod, in just a moment. But let's start. I thought that we would start by simply identifying in this week of Yesod some foundational points in the body. One of which, for sure, is the feet. So take your feet and just give them a little kind of tap to the floor. Wake them up a little bit. Ground the heels. Ground the front arch of the foot. Spread and lift all 10 toes, like you could really lengthen them the way you see a cat or a dog do, to really get some gripping power. Lengthen your toes, spread them, and then lay them back down so that maybe you can see some floor, some mat, some carpet, whatever there is beneath your feet, between each toe. Ground through the inner heel and the outer heel. Lift up through the arch of the foot, and also just dead center of the foot, a sense of lifting up toward the ankle. Ground the mound of the big toe all the way across the whole front arch of the foot over to the mound of the little toe. 4 corners of the feet, inner outer heel, mound of the big toe, mound of the little toe. Sense the weight of your feet. Note if you feel any sense of temperature on your feet. Are they warm? Are they cold? Do you register anything? It's okay if not. Is there any tingling or any vibratory sensation? What do you feel in your feet? Imagine that you could send the roots of the feet all the way down through the earth. Foundation of the feet. And then coming to the sitting bones, bringing the attention to these two prominent bones that form the base of the pelvis. You might even rock side to side. Take the buttock flesh away a little bit. Feel those sitting bones dropping into the chair. Take one hand to your low belly and one hand to your low back. Just feel the contour of this pelvis. Take an inhale. Fill the hands. And as you exhale, let the sitting bones move forward. Rock a little back, tucking the pelvis under. As you inhale, come back up to center. And as you exhale, rock a little forward. I'll turn sideways so that you can see this a little better. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, tailbone forward, rocking back. Inhale, come up to center. Exhale, let the belly come forward, sacrum come forward, rocking forward. Inhale, center. Exhale, rock back. Just feeling the movement, the subtle movement of the pelvis, inhaling up. Exhale, spill that pelvic bowl forward. One more time, inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Get a little more arch in that sacrolumbar area, and then inhale, come back to neutral, back to center. And just feel the foundation of the pelvis, the sitting bones, the pelvic floor. Feel your connection to the chair, pelvis, feet. And now we move to a third foundation, which is the thoracic diaphragm, right? The breathing diaphragm. The diaphragm attaches all the way around the rib cage, front to back. And as we inhale, just like a very thin parachute, as we inhale, the diaphragm moves down, displaces the abdominal organs. And as we exhale, that parachute of the diaphragm comes up and rests again, comes up into the thoracic cavity. So inhaling, it moves down. Just keep the image of this parachute flexible, moving. Exhale, it comes up. Maybe you played that game as a child in phys ed like I did, where you all stand around and you hold that parachute and you lift it up and you play games, you go under. Do you remember that beautiful flexibility, that waving of the parachute? So in your mind's eye, imagine that kind of flexibility with the diaphragm. So as we inhale, it goes down. As we exhale, it comes up. Feel your breath waving, connecting. Inhale to exhale to the next inhale, and so forth. Right, so it's also connected right at the base of the lower ribs and back, a place that can get really tight. So front to back. See if we can find a basic softening of this lower rib cage, welcoming the diaphragm to have greater flexibility, greater capacity to lead us to better health. Feeling that parachute. So from foundation to foundation to foundation. Everything that we think of as the crown lifting up and moving up really comes from all these foundations, and very strongly from this one back here, base of the rib cage. The rest of the thoracic and cervical spine can rise up from there. That's my sense. And then hips and feet are more of a sense of a downward foundation. So, Yesod. As I said before, foundation, roots, connection, and community, right? How do our relationships form a foundation that holds us together? Yesod is also connected with the word tzedek, with justice, with righteousness, and with Joseph. I'll go into that a little more later. Right, so Yesod is the synthesis, is the integration of Netzach and Hod that we explored the last 2 weeks. And this completes the second triad that we've been looking at through the Omer. So when we balance effort and surrender, Netzach and Hod, we have Yesod, we have a foundation, right? We're whole. Surrender and effort balance just perfectly. We can bring our full selves to this world, to our relationship with the divine, to each other, right? So we're balancing Moses, the transforming prophet, and with Aaron, the accepting priest. And that balance is the tzaddik, is the righteous one. And Art Green talks about Joseph as the rectifier of the family history and family psychology, a more mature self in psychological development. Art Green says, quote, that Joseph is the balanced self after another round of testing. So through all the trials and tribulation and the mess that family has been through, in the end, Joseph is able to bring them together, is able to grow, is able to learn, is mature, right? So the balance of Moses and Aaron, of Netzach and Hod, of effort and surrender is Yesod, foundation, Joseph. And of course we apply Chesed today, the first day of the week. Chesed should be Yesod. We apply spaciousness and loving attention to this rootedness. So today in our practice, I want to look at, kind of consider a few questions. Where do we find foundation in the body? We just explored that a little bit. And there are definitely more places, but for our purposes today, 3, I think, is plenty. What helps us to be in our bodies and stay connected, rooted in our bodies? And how do we lay the groundwork internally for anything that we want to manifest, we want to create, we want to make positive in our own lives and for others? Well, those are our questions today. I guess they're not small ones. Before we come to standing, let's take the hands and clasp them. Send the palms forward and up. If that's too much on the shoulders, you want wider, you're going to take the strap, nice wide V, and take the arms up. So you might use the strap, or you might take the arms up a little closer in, palms facing up. Triceps hugging forward, armpits opening. Right, so spread the shoulder blades. Wrap those arms, arm muscles, right? The triceps around forward. And bring it down, pause. If you were clasping hands, take the opposite clasp. It's always nice to work both patterns so we don't just groove into our usual habits. And inhale the arms up once more, either hands clasped or with the strap. Press into the feet, drop the sitting bones down. Let the thoracic diaphragm move freely. Spread those side ribs out. on the inhale, and don't let them collapse on the exhale. Inhale, lift the torso. Keep that lift and the lift of the crown of the head as you bring the hands down. Good. Inhale, one more time, lift. Allow that parachute to go down. And as we exhale, let's spin, let's twist it to the right. Left hand can come to the right knee. Right hand to the back of the chair, wherever that is for you. Good. Inhale, root the feet, root the sitting bones. And exhale, spin that rib cage. See if you can contact the center of the base of the rib cage. Breathe into that space, front to back. Good. Inhale deeply. And exhale, release the twist. Inhale one more time. Lengthen. Exhale, spin to the left. Inhale, root the feet, root the sitting bones. Exhale, spin the ribs. Imagine that parachute of the diaphragm moving freely. Smooth, easy breaths. Inhale here, fill the body that you are. And exhale, release. We'll come to standing. Let's move the chair to the side. Let's give you access to my head. That would be a good thing. Okay. Feet hip width apart. Once again, find the width, the surface area of the feet. You can spread the toes. Shift the weight a little bit side to side. Let's feel what that subtle change of pressure does to the whole system. And shift forward and back. Notice what it's like to be off balance and in balance right in the center. And kind of take it in a little dance, maybe around in a circle or on the diagonal. Just feel shift of weight on those roots. And then come back to center and work through the foot, lifting the heel, coming onto the toes and even over the tops of the toes, stretching the top of the foot. And switch sides, lift the heel. Come on over the tops of the toes if you like. And a couple times, stretching through the whole foot. So many tiny muscles, bones, ligaments, tendons. There's a lot going on. Just open up those feet a little as we start to move toward spring and summer. At least here in the Northeast, starting to get out of our shoes, maybe soon into sandals. Good. And then pause. Come to find mountain pose. Rooting the feet. Four corners of the feet. You might keep a micro bend on those knees. Feel the rooting of the pelvis. Where's the weight of your hips? And then feeling the rib cage stacked directly above. Shift the weight over to the right side and then begin to lift the left foot off the floor. And you might take some balance from the wall or the chair if you would like to support yourself in this balance. And take the hands and clasp them under that left thigh. Now let the left thigh drop into the hands. Good. Find your connection to the earth. You can let the leg just be at 90 degrees, or if you would like to go further, you can begin to hug the knee towards the chest, really pressing through that standing leg. Right, so many options here about where you can be. You could also just let the toes be on the floor. And then come on down and we'll switch sides. So shift the weight over to the left, really rooting, grounding, finding that yesod in the left leg. And begin to lift the right. So it could be balancing on the toes. You might want something to hold. You might come up to 90 degrees. So wherever you are, the main point here is keeping the connection to the earth, keeping the gaze soft and the breath smooth. Just keeping returning to that image of the parachute, of the diaphragm. Moving down on the inhale, and back up on the exhale. And release. Right? Just this billowing quality of the diaphragm. And now we'll move to tree pose. So once again, shifting the weight to the right foot. We're going to turn out at the hip. And you might place toes to the floor, just foot against the ankle or against the calf. You might come up higher above the knee. Just never, 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 never foot against the knee. You don't want to put pressure to the inside of the knee. Where the foot comes all the way up the thigh. You decide where your tree pose is today. You might keep the arms out for a little more help with balance. Or you might draw right into the trunk, palms together. And pressing the palms together, pressing the foot against the thigh. Helps you both root down and lift up. Find your yesod, your rooting. And inquire, how does that inform the rest of my body in this moment? What is there to learn? Right? Because yoga is ultimately an experience of play. We have to remember that, not to get too serious with it. And always it's a chance to learn. Isn't that interesting? What can I learn today about the environment within that I can take to the environment without? All right, releasing if you haven't done so already. And shake it out. Might go through a little bit of prancing through the feet another couple of times. So open up that grounding, right? That just really open up the channel of the bottom of the foot. And now we shift over to the left side, finding that wonderful connection down to the earth, and then turning out at the right hip and placing the foot. So it could be toes to the floor, could be at the ankle, the calf, the thigh, all the way up the thigh towards the groin. Find your tree pose. It might be different on one side than the other. See if you can keep those hips even. Right, so the right sitting bone has to move down at a rate faster than the left sitting bone, so that it keeps you from hiking up. And find your hands, keep your gaze soft. Send your roots down. Right, which foundation are you working from? Which yesod are you working from more than the others in this pose? Is it the foot? Is it the pelvis? Is it the diaphragm? And what happens if you shift from one to the other, to another? Does it help you more or less? Let the inhale come from the earth connection, and let the exhale go back down to the earth. And as you're ready, release. Nice job. I held us there a while. We're growing our trees. Let's come down to the floor and bring your blanket with you. Give yourself a little propping up. Right, so we started with a lot of connection through the sitting bones and also the feet in the chair, and then we moved to really primarily the feet as yesod, as we were standing, right? So now we come back to the pelvis and to the sitting bones. So sitting up a little bit so that your hips can be higher than your knees, or just so that your knees are not up towards your shoulders. Really, your hips are not higher than your knees here. We're going to sit in Baddha Konasana in bound angle. So the soles of the feet are together and the knees out to the sides. And the heels can be in quite a bit towards the groins, or they can be more forward. I'll give you a little less flexion through the knees if you want to bring the soles a little more forward. Right, so either way, wherever you are in this pose, the hands can come to the ankles or they can come to the tops of the feet. And you might start to open the soles of the feet as if you were opening a book. So let's check in with yesod. Let's check in with our foundations, right? We have the sitting bones. Feel your sitting bones. Where are you on your pelvis? Right? Not too far tipped forward or back. Feel that sense of yesod. And then bring the attention to the feet. This foundational quality of the feet in this pose is mostly expressed by the outer edges of the feet touching, isn't it? So the outer edges of the feet really pressing into each other as the inner edges of the feet open towards the sky. We'll take some breaths to tune into that connection. Outer edges of the feet. Outer edges of the feet, sitting bones, and then let's travel up once again thoracic diaphragm, base of the rib cage. Feeling inhale and exhale. So usually when we think of foundation, like a foundation of a house, we think of, concrete or something very solid and fixed, right? A firm foundation. So it might strike you as strange, like the idea of a foundation being a waving parachute, right? But it's actually the flexibility of this diaphragm. Right, so sometimes foundation isn't about rigidity and firmness, but about flexibility, resilience, creating a foundation for our being, for our actions. And feel the knees start to drop. Right, on their own, as we find these points of foundation, these points of freedom, and just stay a while. Then the groins begin to release, the thighs begin to externally rotate, and the result is the knees dropping. Beautiful. And when you're ready, take your hands to the outsides of your knees, draw your knees together, extend your legs forward. I'm going to turn to the side. You don't have to. This is simply for me to show you. So just extending your legs forward, grabbing your strap. We're going to come to staff pose and extend the legs. I want to offer you another option for this. If the hamstrings are very tight and as much as you sit up, it doesn't feel like enough. Another wonderful way to do this pose is sitting. Come to the edge of your chair and extend the legs here. Right? So it gives you a little opening of that angle, and you can do the whole sequence we're about to do on the chair. So legs extended, hands by your sides, palms facing down. Press down. Let the sitting bones root and lift the crown. Good. So let's touch in with our three foundations. Primarily, of course, we have the sitting bones, the pelvis, the pelvic floor, the whole base of the pelvis. And then feet, we have not just the heels, but really serving as feet is the rooting of the whole back leg, right? So let the thigh bones drop down. Let the bones of the lower legs drop down. And then our third foundation, the thoracic diaphragm. Feel the width of the rib cage from side to side. And then also feel the rib cage from front to back. The whole three-dimensionality of it. And it's nice to contact it with those quadrants or just, points of connection side to side, front to back. Now this pose, Dandasana staff pose, is really not an easy pose. If you find yourself tiring quickly, that is not strange. It really takes a lot to be dynamically in this pose. See if you can soften in the hips. And just 5%. And then see if you can soften right at the back of the base of the rib cage. Just 5%. Maybe let the front ribs soften back, right? So usually we're more used to hearing lift up, lift up, lift up, bring the heart forward. But there's also, that's sometimes a little too much netzach, and we need the hod of softening and opening to the back body. Take your strap, send it over the feet. Let the balls of the feet press into the strap. I like to separate my feet a little bit when I'm using the strap so the feet don't crunch up too much. Then you can also turn your hands around. It's kind of an easier way sometimes to hold on to the strap. See exactly where you need to be in terms of just giving you the right amount of tension to begin to lift the upper chest. And then if you like, begin to walk forward. Again, using the strap, or you may not need the strap, you may be able to reach your feet. Even if you can reach your feet, the strap can be so nice to find that extension of the spine. So again, touch in with those sitting bones. Touch in with the backs of the heels and the whole back of each leg. And touch in with the diaphragm. Exploring this forward bend. Keeping the spine nice and long. Coming back to that parachute, down and up. Can we make the breath just a little lighter, 5% lighter? The word that comes to my mind when I think about that silky parachute is gossamer. Gossamer breath. When you're ready, release. And we'll move towards stillness. I invite you, if you've got a movement or two that are calling from inside, just let that wisdom take you. Whatever you need. And if you're ready to settle into total stillness, go ahead and do so. I want to offer a Shavasana variation today, taking this blanket, making a little roll to place under the knees, or I even like it a little higher on the thighs. You kind of get the root of the thigh bone. You'll see what you like. Laying it down. And let go. Let go of the thinking. Let go of the impulse for doing. Let the palms face upward, receiving. Soften. Settle into that aspect of chesed. Soften. Know that you are connected, rooted, and held. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing your attention back toward the surface. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a nice yawn stretch, extending the arms up overhead. And bend the knees, hug them toward the chest, and roll over onto your right side into a fetal position, using your right upper arm as a pillow for your head. And as you're ready, pressing into the left hand and then the right to bring your spine up tall, come to a comfortable seat up on the blanket or in the chair. Chesed shebeyesod. Love, compassion within connection, foundation. Returning one more time to this sense of the thoracic diaphragm, this beautiful parachute. Moving down into the abdomen as we inhale. And floating back up towards the heart on the exhale. This resilient foundation. So you can call on this resilient foundation at any time during this week of Yesod and beyond. Bringing the palms together at the heart. And bow the head to the heart. Bowing to the wisdom innate in the heart. Release the hands, allow the eyes to open. Shavua Tov. Thank you all for practicing today. Wishing you a good week of Yesod. Looking ahead, I want to remind you that 2 weeks from today will be the first day of Shavuot. That's May 17th, and we will not be practicing together on that day. So next week we do have class, but in 2 weeks, no. So thanks for practicing. And I'm here for